Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Vision Pros. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Today on the show, I'm looking forward to this conversation with Mr. Francesco Hayes, who is living in the DC area. Francesco is the founder and CTO at Luxera, and we're going to get into what Luxera is in just a moment. But first, welcome to the show, Francesco.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure
Yeah,
is
man.
it's good. I'm looking forward to the call.
Yeah. Well, hey, like I told you, we always like to start off with something that's feeling good, that's going well in your life, because we got enough. There's enough suffering out there. We don't even have to look for that. But let's
Yeah.
practice focusing on something that's going well. What's going well in your life? What's a win, professionally or personally?
I'd honestly probably say this most recent project that I've taken on here at Luxera. It's been a it was a big pivot from where I was originally, just with career wise, and having this opportunity come into my life and seeing the change that's already taken effect has been a huge win.
Right on. So bring us up to speed then. What is Luxera? I've not heard of it before my conversation with you. So let's cue the listeners in on what that is.
Yeah, so Luxera is a healthcare startup based out of the UK, where we specialize in connecting people with healthcare clinics around the world. So whether it be within your country or without, more oftentimes than not, it's likely to be outside the country to receive more affordable healthcare. And so right now, Luxera, we're starting off with cosmetic-based procedures such as like hair transplants, Botox, beard transplants, eyebrows, facelifts, and dental.
Okay. So how did you get involved with this?
Yeah, so that's a fun little story because before this, I worked with startups before, and I came on more with a contract role and would kind of help clean up a lot of the nuances that come with doing a rushed MVP. So I did a lot of the cleanup work there with different development teams, but this one was pre-development, so it was a little bit new, and I got to actually come on full time, which was nice. So that made the connection through my cousin of all people, who was talking to a friend of hers who is Nick Weeks. He's the CEO of Luxera, and they'll go on these trips. And they were talking. They recently lost their developer. He had to leave on his own accord due to some emergencies, and they were looking for another developer. And she was just like, "Well, if you can convince my cousin, I think he'd be the right fit." And so we got into contact. Nick shared the vision and shared kind of what this project was, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, all right! Like, what can I do to be a part of this? Because this is something that I can see myself using later down the line, and obviously, like, is clearly going to make an impact on a lot of people's lives."
Yeah. And because there's, as everybody in the US knows, there's a big problem with the healthcare system, being that it's out of reach financially for most people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, especially the type of procedures you're talking about. You were talking to me pre-show, like, a hair transplant can be anywhere between 30K and $60,000. Is that accurate?
yeah. So hair transplants here in the U.S. will run you close to $30,000, $60,000 to be done by like a reputable clinic individual. Um, and even then, you're looking at least at a minimum of $30,000. And that's just for the first time. Like I was saying before the show, that's if, they get it right. That's not counting post care. That's not counting if they did something wrong and they have to fix it. A lot of these clinics will charge you twice and or have some other form of incentives that you have to cover.
And so what you're saying is Luxera is a company that hears what your need or desire is, in the realm of healthcare, and then
Yeah.
it matches you with companies that can deliver that outcome, and they may be in different parts of the world. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So the way that the platform works is we onboard you by asking you a number of questions to further get a rough idea. You'll upload some pictures of yourself. We'll take those, we'll scan them, and then we'll recommend you the clinic that specializes in based upon what phase of whatever kind of procedure you're trying to get. Um, Keep consistency here, with hair transplants being one of the first ones that we're starting out with, depending on where your hairline is, different what they call Norwood scale levels is, if you've maybe some of your viewers might have seen it if they've ever gone to like a different website or tried different hair loss products. They'll ask you like where your hairline is, and based upon the shape and progress will depend on where you are on the Norwood scale. Based upon that and what type of hair, curly, thin, straight, all determines what you know what best fit will be for you. Also, depending on like whether you're able to travel or not, and how far you're willing to travel, and what countries you're comfortable with traveling to. All things that we try to take into consideration and sharing, because in the end, we want our users to be comfortable and we want them to feel safe. That's one of the things that we are trying to tackle, being this knowledge base of informing people of some of the risks that do come with traveling outside the country, but also mitigating a lot of that risk that comes with it. So, and making sure that like, just because they're a hair clinic doesn't mean that they might specialize in every, form of hair. There are different clinics that are better than others. And we at Luxera, we have a team that goes out and works with these clinics and figures things out and makes sure that they're being kept up. And we do our best to make sure that what you're being recommended is the best fit.
Got it. So this show is called Vision Pros, right?
Yeah.
And I define a vision as a clarified story in the mind with the intent of bringing that into the physical realm. So what I want to know from you is, what is your vision?
Yeah, when I first kind of started working, started my first business, my whole kind of spiel was just like, I want to experience this world and I want to see every end to it. I see this world as like a gift, and almost like if I'm not doing my best to go and experience it, it's almost like taking it for granted. And so that's where kind of like where things really came to. And eventually that developed into just like, as I started to explore and travel more, as my business grew and I was able to afford such luxuries, I found myself like, all right, how can I make this a better place? Like, what can I do? And there's so many different ways to go about it, different levels of service, different forms of products. There's so many problems. And not always are they just like right in front of your face. However you want to consider it as making the world a better place, that's I think is very much on a personal level. But with the kind of teams and projects that I was given, I always made sure that they had some form of making the world a better place, depending on whatever they were building. Currently, my vision now is just to, with this project coming on full time, giving everything to it, is to help change our way of thinking for healthcare. I feel like here in the U.S. we're very much under the impression that U.S. is like the number one. I don't want to go anywhere else. Like it's not safe. Healthcare isn't the same kind of deal, and there's part of that it can be true for different countries, but there's a lot of countries out there where the healthcare level is the same, if not better. And that was something that I realized as I was traveling and meeting with different clinics around the world. You know, the big eye-opening part was when we went to Turkey. Obviously, Turkey's very much known for their hair transplants, people traveling out there. And my perception as an American to going to Turkey was, I wasn't really sure what it was going to be like, let alone the hospitals and some of the clinics there. And when I went into one of these clinics, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. I feel like I'm in like a sci-fi movie or something. They had like, one of them had like a holographic display. It was insane. and it was very clean, very nice. The customer care was top of the line. Um, it just blew me away. And so um, when I saw that, I was just like, people need to know about this. And, there's no reason for us, especially like as we become more and more of a connected world, for us to feel like the sense of being married to just one location when there are plenty
Mhm.
of other locations that can offer, you know, depending on where you are in life, financially or whatever, affordable, if not better care for you.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to this question. What's your vision? What I heard you say a couple times between the
Yeah.
lines was you want to make the world a better place,
Yeah. And
and
I think
that
that,
and that can be that can be something that you can focus on no matter what you're doing, right?
yeah.
Whether you're building a startup, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's
Hmm.
as a parent, whether it's as a traveler of the world,
Yeah.
we can all seek to make the world a better place, and that's what it sounds like you're saying. Part of your vision is just, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say, as cliche as it is, I definitely believe that's what my vision is. Obviously, right now, the Luxera is with my vision right now is with Luxera to help make the world a better place by providing more affordable healthcare
Hmm.
um, options, outside and through the world by connecting individuals through that. Um, 10 years down the line, that could change.
Yeah,
But in the end, the commonality and recurring thing will definitely be like what's going to help
yeah.
people, what's going to help make this place better.
So there might be some people listening out here that are like, hey, this sounds kind of cool. Like I've been thinking about hair transplants, right? Or I know
Yeah.
somebody who is thinking about it. This is a very common thing in our world. But what they may not have considered is going outside of their country in order to do that.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, what does it look like to work with you all? I mean, and where might you be connecting? To what other countries might you be connecting these people?
Yeah. So right now, this is very early startup phase. So most the clinics that we've onboarded are strictly in Greece. We have a couple in Turkey
Hmm.
that we will refer people to, but for the most part, the Greek clinics is where we'll be sending people. You know, the journey, with us is going to be very much different to where some of these individuals might have seen if they've looked for hair transplants. Right now, the form of getting a hair transplant is one by either catching them on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever, and connecting via messaging, and then communicating through WhatsApp. All the process is pretty much done through WhatsApp, and that's when we kind of saw it's like, okay, like this can be fixed, this can be streamlined, um, and this can, this will help the patients, and this can also help the clinics. One, they're just not having to go through WhatsApp. There's not many Americans I know that have a WhatsApp, anyways. And also, when you do these, when you go on these ventures, a lot of times they will have you travel with cash, and not everyone may feel comfortable with traveling with cash. A bunch of red flags here. It's just like, all right, we can fix this, we can do this.
Right, right.
And so when it comes to like working with Luxera, you'll be on board to the platform. You'll be recommended depending on the questions, a set of clinics. You'll be able to view the before and afters from their patients, see the reviews as the reviews grow and develop on the platform, because we're doing our best to make sure, like, you know, obviously we're doing our best to make sure that we're finding these top and clean clinics. Um, but obviously there are tons of clinics out there who will make reviews, as we see with any small business. They'll just
Yeah,
make
yeah,
fake reviews. And so we're having that set of control to where, like, all right, verified reviews from the platform kind of deal, before and afters they can provide different abouts, what's their procedure, because their process can vary depending on where you're at with your with whatever you, depending on the procedure for hair transplant, depending on how far back your hair is or how much you've lost. But the consistent part is, you go on, you'll message them, they'll give you a quote, you'll be able to um, pay that quote online through our platform. We'll hold on to the funds for security, and then you'll book your ticket. A lot of times they have different packages to where they'll offer, sometimes they'll include flights, other times, but for the most part, they'll often include a hotel, um, and, picking you up from the airport, taking you to and fro. A lot of times it's all included in these packages.
Got it.
So you'll send them your ticket if you're buying the ticket or if they're buying it. And then it's just a matter of then showing up to the flight, flying over. They pick you up in this nice van or car, whatever it may be. They take you, they walk you through the process, you go through it all. When you arrive, there's normally some forms that you have to sign. All those are scanned over to us. That way we're tracking the process, seeing how far you are. There are multiple checkpoints throughout to where you, the user, and patient will be able to be like, all right, this is where I'm at. Like, have you signed the consent forms? You can hit check. We'll be notified that, okay, they're at this phase. There's like, all right, it's surgery day. The clinic will be sending in updates to the platform also. So you'll be with someone every step of the way.
Got it.
And then once the procedure's done, they will send us the pictures. You'll confirm that it's obviously you. And once we've confirmed that the procedure was successful and everything was good, then we release the funds to the clinic. They get their paid and you fly on back and everything's good to
Cool.
go.
Thanks for taking the time to walk us
Yeah,
through that.
might have
What
been
I
a little
think,
all over.
no,
Yeah.
sorry. My biggest takeaway with what your company is doing, besides just actually connecting the client to the clinic, is what you're doing is providing a high level of certainty,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what you guys are doing. We're making a
Yeah.
connection and we're helping you feel certain that this is all legitimate and it's going to
Yeah.
go well, which is huge, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because when people don't have a high level of certainty, they're not going to follow through with the action. So just the way
Exactly.
you were able to stair step us through that, make sure that they know that there are all these checkpoints in place. The funds aren't released until the deliverables occur,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, right? Creates a sense of certainty for the client. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well
There's
thought
that.
out.
Yeah. That level of certainty. And also, one of our biggest missions too is really just to be a knowledge base to inform potential patients and users, just like what this entails.
Yeah.
Because you may find that, like, hey, this is not something for me, and that's okay. In the end, we want you to be comfortable as a user, as a patient, as you're traveling outside, because that's a lot of people aren't maybe familiar and or comfortable doing that, let alone having a health procedure done, a surgery, maybe even.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
we want to make sure we do our part in educating the user and also, um, you know, mitigating as much risk as we realistically can.
Yeah, right on. So if somebody's interested in this, so like, yeah, I want to talk to these people about this.
Yeah.
How do they reach out to you?
Yeah. So right now we're in our early stage of setting up. So if you're someone who's wanting to do this, you're very fortunate because for our first handful of, or first like a couple 50 to 100 users, we will be joining you on board. So we'll have some part of the team with you throughout the entire process. You can either reach out to me on my social platform or also just through the actual website. Um,
And
there
what's
should
that
be,
domain?
yeah, it's luxera.com, luxxera.com. You can sign up or fill out the email form. Um, like I said, this is very much, you're being, it's an early startup, so you get to be a part of this journey and help kind of flesh things out in the beginning, for the future set of users. So it's an
Right
exciting
on.
time to join us.
And that again, that website is luxxera.com, luxera.com.
Yep.
All right. Hey, Francesco, we're out of time here, but thanks so much for joining me today. Really intriguing what you all are doing here, and I wish you all the best.
Yeah. Thanks. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Fletcher.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.